Okay, y'all, what is up? It's Vincent. And this right here is a little bit of a retrospective of all of the D&D campaigns I've ran so far. Uh, I stopped DMing as of a few months ago, and there's a variety of reasons for that, but that's not really relevant for what I'm doing right here. I just wanted to do I just wanted to do like a retrospective. I just wanted to do like a post mortem or like a for posterity, right? To go over my campaigns and yeah, to go over my campaigns and to rank them and talk about them and stuff like that. So I started DMing. I don't even remember. It's been at least 4 years, right? And I started DMing based on I don't know. I mean it's a long time coming, honestly, right? I used to be who cares? Who even fucking cares? But briefly, I used to do role playing, text based story role playing on Gaia Online. The way it works is everyone makes their own character, but then there's no dice, there's no like mechanics or like rules really, except for like be decent, be like the really rules is like you can't be immortal, right? You can't be perfect. You can't be immortal. Your character has to be some degree of um, touchable, right? And it's like don't like overly post, right? It's like don't overly post, don't neglect it and forget to post. Um, don't try and say your character is invincible or immortal. And then also, sort of on the flip side, don't do anything drastic or crazy to somebody else's character without asking their permission. You have to say, like, you can't just say, like, I killed your character, right? It's like, it has to be a collaborative thing, it has to be a consensual thing to a degree. So, and people would play. I mean, this was how many years ago? This was how many years ago? 15 years ago, people would be playing, oh, we're playing vampires, right? Or we're playing, I mean, people used to do fan fiction role plays, right? People used to do Twilight and Avatar. And I even made a Death Note role play one time, right? People would do original stuff like superheroes. It's an original superhero thing, or it's a DC superhero thing, or we're doing Dragon Ball Z or whatever it is, right? And you make your own character, you play by post. You're not doing dice or anything, right? You're not doing dice or hit points. It's just sort of a vibes thing, really. So that's what I was into a long time ago. Then I was playing Skyrim a lot. This was like, damn, I'm so fucking old. Whatever. So this was after high school. I was playing Skyrim, right? So that's the fantasy thing, the dungeon thing, right? I was always into Star Wars. I was always into like Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, stuff like that. Long ass introduction. We still gonna get to it. Um, what else? Oh, then I got into playing Magic. Then got into well, it was really watching Magic. It was really watching Magic the Gathering gameplay way before I ever played Magic the Gathering. But my point is, I'm getting to my YouTube recommendations, right? Based on Skyrim and based on Magic, those two things were overlapping to recommend me Dungeons and Dragons just a lot. And it was like, it used to be like, bro, why am I looking at Dungeons and Dragons? I don't play that. I don't want to look at that. That's dumb. Get away from me. For the longest time, for at least, I mean, for months and months, maybe even like a year, I kept getting recommendations of D&D, and it's like, what is that? Right? I mean, I know what it is, but like, do I really know what it is? What is, like, let me look at it. I started looking at, I started looking at, I mean, everyone knows about Critical Role, right? But Critical Role, in from what I was looking at, Critical Role always had this thing of the critters, right? And it was like it was like that annoying fandom, like they love it too much and they overly talk about it and they're like obsessed and it's weird, right? That was always my impression. Obviously, kind of any fandom might look like that from the outside, but that was my impression of that. And that's, I don't know. And then I did watch it a few times, right? And it was like, I don't know. And then you started to learn about the Matt Mercer effect, right? And it was like too, it was like too perfect. It was like too, the way Matt Mercer speaks is like, he's just, I get, what am I trying to say? What am I trying to say? It's like he's, it's like he thinks he's a hero in real life. It's like he thinks he's Prince Charming in real life. That's what it seems like. He's like annoying. He's like overrated, I would say. Or, I mean, obviously, that's what is that? Is that jealousy? Is that envy? What is that? But it's just the mainstream thing, honestly, right? It's like I've always been drawn to like the secondary thing or the iteration or like, sure, the sort of mainstream or straight, the premier thing, right? The premier thing of like, if you want to do X, this is who does it the best, or this is who does it most often or most successfully, whatever it is, right? I'm thinking of, like, for example, Dragon Ball. My favorite character in Dragon Ball is Vegeta. Why? Because he stands as contrast to Goku. Goku is the baseline, honestly, right? Goku is like, well, that's what the show is about, and he's like the main guy, right? And me, I always like the iteration. I always like what is the thing? Like, the show is about Goku, right? Okay, so like, what does it look like when you take Goku, but you twist it a little bit into something more aggressive or vengeful, like Vegeta, right? Same thing with Superman and Supergirl. I like Supergirl more than Superman because Supergirl is more expressive. Supergirl is more like higher highs, lower lows, more volatile, right? I like that as well. Sasuke, right? I like Sasuke more than I like Naruto. I could go on and on. I typically enjoy the deviation or the iteration of something more than the premier thing itself. So what I'm saying is that's why I like Brennan Lee Mulligan more than Matt Mercer. And I was looking at Brennan Lee Mulligan a lot more than Matt Mercer. I was looking at Dimension 20 a lot more, and I came to the realization of, and I mean, again, long ass story, but I was wanting to write a book at the same time, or like world building, or like fiction theorizing, or writing a book, or whatever that was. All these and dreams and ambitions, and I realized Brennan, like, this guy just wrote this shit. Right? This guy just wrote this shit and then put it out there into a game, and then because the players are playing the game, the players like inherently like inherently, naturally are interested in like, wait, where does this guy? It's like the world building, the lore matters to the game. The players are playing the game, and it's like to them, it's like, well, this is just like the way it is. But for me, it's like I wrote the shit, right? So it's like a symbiotic thing. It's like a weird. It's like a unique, interesting, cool thing of like, hey, I wrote this thing, and I have this concept or this world or these characters and all that, and then the players like are naturally drawn into it and begin to dig into it because that's what matters, to their characters and to the world and stuff like that. So I don't know, it's pretty cool, pretty awesome. So I did enjoy it for a lot of, I did enjoy it a lot, and I made my own worlds, and I've never done a module or a pre-written adventure. I've always done my own stuff. So it's been 10 minutes and we still didn't. Okay, let's get on with it at that point, right? At this point, let's get on with it. So I got these guys in order of. So in order of what I. So in the tier list, right? In this tier list, I have these characters. Each of these characters represents a campaign that I have run. So let's go. I mean, this is awkward. Let's go from this direction. Let's go in this direction. So this is Israel's will that I've. So yeah. So each of these characters represents a campaign. I will go in order of from this way, and I will just give a few notes, give a little bit of an explanation of what this campaign was and what I thought of it, and then rank it in a tier list. So I will say, damn, I would say Israel's will was incredible. It was top tier. It was maybe the best thing I ever did. Israel's will was a beautiful, uh, iteration and development. It was the second, not my second. Well, was it my second? Never. I can't even remember. It's been so long. But like, this was the sequel to my first campaign, right? Israel's will was top tier, incredible. Let me just go ahead and say Muriel's chosen as well. So so in retrospect, I would say that this campaign should be called Muriel's gift, right? Yeah, looking back at it, if I were to do it again, right, this campaign would be called Muriel's gift. Muriel's gift was born of my love for angels and demons in fantasy, right? Everything else sort of emerged naturally from that premise, but that was the original premise. Angels and demons in fantasy. Plenty of demons in fantasy, honestly, but not a whole lot of angels and not a whole lot of like I don't know. The only thing that comes to mind is Diablo, maybe, but like, well, I mean Diablo, obviously, but my inspiration was from Magic the Gathering, right? I love the freaking Magic the Gathering angel cards. They're so cool. They're so powerful. They're so beautiful. Demons as well. The contrast, right? The vast contrast. The people caught in the middle. It's really cool. Um, the campaign. Maybe I'll go. Maybe I'll go over the little bit of the story of. I mean, I could say how it ends, right? I could say how it begins and how it ends. And honestly, a lot of it I forgot by now. I mean, this campaign ran a year and a half. This campaign, Muriel's Gift, ran a year and a half. The campaign begins with Muriel. The title Muriel's Gift refers to Muriel coming down from Skyhaven, which is my version of like Mount Celestia, right? Freaking Muriel comes down from Skyhaven and she chooses a champion to be her. She chooses a champion to carry her gift into the what is called the living world, like the mortal realm, right? And she, oh my dear freaking, what is that? I gotta go back and edit now. I really don't want to. That sound, okay. Um, she chooses a champion. Okay, choosing a champion. Coming down from heaven and choosing a champion are both strictly forbidden by the covenant that the angels are under. The angels are under this covenant because of the villain of the campaign, Gothriel. Gothriel is, long ass story, Gothriel is a figure naturally emerging from the structure of the universe. He's not an angel or demon, but he's born of the fundamental light and dark that is in the universe. um, so he's very powerful and he kind of resembles an angel. And he uses this power and this resemblance to take over and usurp the Lord of Angels, Israel. Long ass story. But basically, Gothriel is the villain. He did bad things to angels, and then in the end, the players help the angels to defeat and destroy Gothriel and return Israel to his rightful place as the angel of order and the Lord of angels. And yeah, so that is Miriel's gift. Israel's will is the sequel. Israel's will is basically Israel trying to finally, after he is returned to power, Israel is trying to bring the world into order, and he's doing so quite aggressively, I suppose. I was honestly not meaning not meaning for Israel to be the villain, but the players, for whatever reason, I mean, obviously the players are, honestly it makes sense. Honestly, it makes sense because the players are a force of chaos, right? Inherently, the players, you never know what could happen in D&D. And why? Because players, right? You don't know what they're going to do. Me, I was trying to say like there is this chaos because okay. Also involved in Israel's will is the return of the actual elemental chaos devils, right? Because I like having devils and demons be separate. And I like devils and demons being as they are in Magic. In Magic, devils and demons are basically the opposite of D&D, because in D&D, it's devils that have the laws and the contract and the like suffering and like torture, and then it's demons that are the wild, reckless, chaotic sort of thing, right? In Magic, it's the opposite. It's demons that are the dark, cruel, contracting creatures, and it's devils that are the wild, chaos, fire creatures. So, so the idea was in Israel's will, the idea was that Israel was supposed to be right. That was the original concept, was Israel is doing the right thing, bringing order in order to suppress this devastating, chaotic entity, the king of the devils. His name was Ashatan. But yeah, it didn't play out that way. Ultimately, it played out as the players choosing to defy Israel in his effort to bring order. And it ended with so Israel's so Israel had a chosen Israel had a champion during the events of this campaign, and so Israel himself ascended to godhood. That's like a B story. The A story is Israel's champion carrying out Israel's will. Yeah, the title. That's kind of cool. And the players had to defeat Israel's champion. Israel's champion name was Elijah, but Elijah fell to the dark side and got corrupted, and his name during like towards the end of the campaign, Israel's Elijah was known as the Black Wing, the corrupter. I was inspired by Anakin Skywalker, of course. Yeah. So then after that, we have Isabel's curse. Damn. Honestly, it was okay. You know what I'll say? I'll rate it as a B. I'll put it at B because the players actually wanted to keep playing it, even after I thought it was bad, right? Because so this campaign was originally called Isabel's Shadow, but what I would call it retroactively, what I would call it is Isabel's Curse. And the idea was the players were a cursed party. They were in some way tied to darkness and in debt to the goddess of evil, Isabel. By the way, Isabel is Israel's mother. So all of these take place in the same universe as well. All of these take place in my shared created universe. The universe at large is called Elastra, and all of these campaigns take place in the same place. Oh, this was after. Oh, this was after. Damn it. Okay, so I'll do it. Damn, I gotta do it again. Okay. So her wicked machines. This whole Isabel's curse was a sequel to her wicked machines. Okay, so her wicked machines. I'll have to go here first, right? Her wicked machines was a steampunk. I don't like the word steampunk. I don't like the word steampunk. I prefer maybe like a gothic, Victorian, industrial, whatever, right? But steampunk, what does steampunk mean? Steampunk means a bunch of cogs and gears slapped onto clothing that don't make sense. Gears function in machines, right? Gears don't make sense separate from a machine. Why do you have a gear on your fucking top hat? That makes no damn sense. That bothers me a lot. So it's not steampunk, okay? And also it's not based. It was not based on. Honestly, it was not based on Victorian. It was not based on British. It was based on Russia. It was based on Soviet. It was based on like, what's that called? I'm blanking on the word. But it's like that region of the world that it was based on. Anyways, so the villain of this campaign was Natasha. Natasha was trying to become immortal. Natasha was trying to become a lich. Natasha was the great granddaughter of the emperor of the Strasian Empire. She was outcasted when the dynasty changed over to the Alkarov dynasty. She returned, many years later, she returned and built up her wealth again. And then to the point that she essentially owned the city. She owned the empire. She was not the empress, but she was essentially the one in charge because she owned everything and could use her money for great influence. The campaign begins with the workers in a riot because they have horrible working conditions and they're being restricted in where they can go in the city. So the players intervene in that scenario. And then the campaign ends with the players discovering that, well, it split off. That's interesting. The party split into two different parties. It was two dwarf characters who took the primary, the MacGuffin, the artifact. It was called the Blood Engine. They took that artifact and escaped with the city and kept it away from the villain. And then afterwards, it was an elf. It was a vampire elf and like a normal elf. They stayed in the city and they helped the rebellion go to find Natasia, who they discovered Natasia went through with the lich process anyways. Even though she didn't have this key component, she went through with it anyway, and eventually, and that resulted in her death. She died, and the robot she was creating was rendered non-functional. No, it had no life inside of it. So yes, the villain was basically really desperate to do it without the proper materials, and she suffered a great consequence as a result. Okay. Following that is Isabel's. So that was her wicked machines. And then following her wicked machines is Isabel's curse with those cursed party members. There's one character that was a sequel, or there's one character from her wicked machines who also played in Isabel's curse. Isabel's curse is about those cursed party members returning to Strazia to take out Natasia's grandfather. And eventually they do. Whoa, I forgot. At the end of Isabel's curse, they all died. Yeah. At the end of Isabel's curse, which was crazy because they succeeded in the mission. They succeeded in the mission of taking down Natasia's great grandfather, the original last emperor of Strazia. They saved the city, right? They saved the city. They completed the mission. They satisfied the dark goddess's whims. And then they got too big for their britches. Tried to take down the vampire lord and the empress and his empress girlfriend vampire as well. And yeah, they all died at the end. After they were successful in the mission, which is crazy. They succeeded in the quest, and then they flew too close to the sun and they all died. Insane. Yeah. But I would say, so Dan, it's crazy because so I would say Muriel's Gift was a decent showing. Honestly, what I would say is Muriel's Gift for my first campaign was better than you might think as a first campaign. You know, because I studied Brennan Lee Mulligan. I literally studied like gameplay. I didn't even have a DM guide. I did not even have a DM guide. I just looked at it and it was like, this is kind of like what I did before on Gaia, right? It's a compilation of everything I've been doing before, right? So I was kind of good at it already. Not to glaze myself, but I was decent with it already, right? And then leveled up with the sequel. That was basically pure improvement. So many character moments that were amazing in that campaign. I had great players as well. It was just basically the best I ever did. I would rank her Wicked Machines as A as well. Not It's not as good as Israel's Will. Uh, Isabel's Curse. I'm honestly surprised that players liked it because Isabel's Curse. I was trying to avoid the resting. I really don't like when players ask to rest. So I was like, hey, what if you guys are cursed and you have to use this certain item to rest and you can rest more quickly and you don't have to ask for it. You can just have this resource and you know if you can rest or not. You have, 10 charges and it costs 3 charges. You know if you can rest or not. You can choose when you want to rest. Please don't ask me. Please don't break the immersion. It seemed like they did not like that. Honestly, I would rank it as A. It was okay. Nah, no, I wouldn't. I don't know. One of our best friends and players left the game also during this time. Whatever. Next up is Orbs of the Dragon. Orbs of the Dragon was basically Naruto and Dragon Ball Z and Pokemon all mashed up together. The mechanic was kind of like, well, I mean, so like Shinron and Dragon Ball Z with the Dragon Balls, except for the Dragon Balls were crystals that were holding other beasts, and it was winged beasts, kind of like Naruto tailed beasts, but instead they were winged beasts because they're legally distinct, right? And they could be channeled, right? The beasts could be channeled into your body for powers or captured into the spheres, the crystal spheres. That's a weird word. Sphere, 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 crystal spheres, right? And then when all the crystal spheres are collected together, they power up the dragon, and as a reward, the dragon can give you a wish, right? That's kind of the idea. So the story begins with the dragon relinquishing all. This also takes place in this world. Also, all of these take place in the same world. This honestly could not, or uh, Orbs of the Dragon could honestly not take place in the same world, and it would still work. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, then the campaign ends with the party collecting all of the winged beasts into the crystals, returning them. Or what had happened? Oh, also, so one of the characters' fathers was the villain of the campaign, and he was trying to lead a war to take over all the islands. It was the location was the Taijiren Islands, and the villain was trying to take over all the islands, and they defeated the villain, recovered his winged beasts, which was the last one that they needed to summon the dragon and get their wish. And one of the players, very creative, right? Very creative, very locked in, paying attention to the campaign, said, "What I want from you, dragon, is to release all of the winged beasts from their crystals." Oh my freaking god. That was the most top tier tactical elite counter to the whole thing, right? It was like, that was amazing. That was beautiful. And I'm honestly, I honestly was hoping that somebody would make that wish, right? I honestly was hoping, like, if the players are paying attention, like, so baseline, right? Baseline, you are a character at the end of the campaign, you make a wish, whatever you want, cool. But if you're actually paying attention, if you're actually paying attention and you're still playing, even in the end, then you're gonna say this, right? Some kind of something creative, right? Something creative to counter the dragon, to deny him the power, and prevent the another 1,000 years of bullshit from the dragon being overpowered and dominating. And then one of my players did that. That was so sick. Okay. Um, Tower ship was fucking trash, and I am embarrassed that I ever did it. The concept of tower ship was I need an F. I need more. I need an F. I need lower than that. I just made that an F because that was fucking horrible. Tower ship was so dumb, and yeah, it was my own. It was both of our fault. I'll say it's both of our fault. It was my fault for not properly preparing enough, and it was their fault for being weird about, like, what are y'all doing? I think there's enough blame for everyone to hold some. Right? It's my own fault because I did not prepare. You know what the problem was? I prepared so much of the, like, world and the lore and the concept, right? And what I did not prepare was I did not prepare enough actual stuff for players to engage with. Okay, so that's my fault. And then their fault was not being a freaking party. So you're a party. So you players have been together for 3 years. Okay. So you should know by now that when you get into a party, your character needs to be actively going in the direction of talking to the other characters, joining up, merging your goals, taking turns with your goals. You guys all have the same goals. And you are a party, and you need to figure out how to connect. Sorry that I didn't say, like, you guys have. I honestly enjoy and prefer for characters to meet for the first time in session one. You know, I don't want to pretend. I don't want to arbitrarily say and pretend you guys have been friends for 10 years already. Right? I want to say you guys are meeting for the first time right now. So that everything that comes afterwards is organically building up from the like, damn, we met in this tavern and now we're the bestest, closest friends, right? And we're fighting a god together, and you know, it's us versus the world, right? And it's all a natural development of what happened. But that's not how it worked out this time, right? Every other time it works out fine. Every other time it worked out fine. Here it worked fine. In Muriel it worked out. In Muriel it worked out. In Israel's will it worked out. In Her Wicked Machines it worked out. In Isabel's Curse it worked out. In this game it worked out. And what's this game? Orbs of the Dragon. In Orbs of the Dragon it worked out. But here it didn't work. Why, I don't know. Whatever. This is a game I played with my so I have. So all of these games were done with my main group on Saturday morning. Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern time. I ran all of these games, and they were a good time. I'm very grateful and pleased, and I would honestly love to play with these players again. Asterisk, question mark. Yeah, but this was with my second group. I was running this on Wednesdays. On Wednesdays I was trying a different group. So on this, I would say C. Yeah, I would say C is fair. I would put that on C because this was called Kite Sail, which is crazy because it wasn't really okay. So this campaign was called Kite Sail Express, and the character that I'm posting right there is Alethea. Alethea is a character that the players met, who was. So I was trying to do like a Greek setting. The idea was like a Greek slash Viking setting that was on floating islands, flying through. It was like its own pocket or shard realm, flying through cosmos, potentially interacting or landing with other realms, like passing through. Yeah, it was kind of like the whole world was a ship flying through space. There was also ships in the setting, like sky ships in the setting. The idea was like it was going to be very aerial, very navigation, combat, pirates, stuff like that. And that lasted maybe 5 sessions until we got to this thing that I put into, which is my fault. It was my fault that I put in this like infinite worlds thing, you know? And the players really leaned into it and ran with it. And it's my own fault for giving them, hey, at this temple, right? So at this certain temple with these crystals, there's infinite worlds, right? And then they said, infinite worlds? Let's try this combination of crystals and see what world happens. And then I realized, what the hell am I doing? No, you can't just randomly generate, like, bro. Maybe someone... No, you can't just spontaneously, randomly generate any infinite world that they think of. Right? Like, what was the plan? What was the plan there? It's my own fault. I set myself up for failure, giving them, like, I don't know. how do I explain that? It's like the TARDIS, or it's like a Stargate, or it's like a cosmic cube, right? Where it's like our wildest dreams could come true. Who knows what could happen? Let's spin the world, right? It's like you're trolling. That got way off topic, right? And it's my own fault, right? Because I should not have put that there to begin with. Yeah, the campaign was derailed by this infinite worlds thing. Uh, so the campaign starts with them, the party, joining up onto a skyship crew, and the plan was it's like a gray market semi legal thing of they go around and they grab the loot and they deliver it and stuff like that. They start to do jobs for this guy called Malleus. Malleus wants to create life. As a result of that, he creates Alethea. Alethea then becomes a like muse or intermediary between them and the gods. This story was never finished, as I described. It fell apart once they left the ship. They left the ship, went to this temple, and were so infatuated by the other worlds. I didn't see any way out except for like, yeah, this is not what the campaign is about anymore. Or this is not what the campaign was supposed to be about. How do I fix it other than starting all over? So yeah, I'll just see you later. So that was the Kite Sail Express. This was the Dissident Air. I might put that on. This is Dissident Air. Dissident Air was about humans versus elves in a like war. Elves are, I mean, in a simplified way, right? In a simplified way, in a very broad strokes way, not meaning to be any sort of insensitive or offensive, whatever. Don't come for me. But like, the elves were the natives, the humans were the colonizers or invaders. The campaign was about the campaign began with in the aftermath of a big battle in the colonies between elves and humans. The party was a mixture of elves and humans, and the idea was like, hey, we had this major battle, hundreds of people died. We are the 5 people who survived. What are we gonna do next? Are we, And the idea was like, hey, we have, at bare minimum, we have this battle in common, and we need to find a way to progress from here. That was the idea. Originally the story was going to be about the elf princess, and the elf princess was ultimately going to actually be half human. She's half human, half elven, and the happy ending would be that she is rightfully restored to the throne, thus merging humans and elves together. And then the bad ending would be like her enemies killed her, and then the party has to figure out how to navigate that. I mean, this never got past 3 or 4 sessions, so yeah, Dissident Air. Oh, well, I had a player walk out the session, not in person. All these are online. All these games are online, and literally during the first session, the party joined up together. I mean, it was 6 people. So, wait, was it? I can't remember. Was it 6 or was it 5 people? I don't know. It might have been 5 or 6, but I do remember one person Literally, like, we did the first couple encounters, and then the party was about to move on from this location and go to the city. And one of the players said that their character was gonna go was not going to the city and was going back to the woods. And then he just literally left and didn't show up to the second one. Which, I mean, play your character. I guess he was really in character. He was like, "Yeah, I don't know who you are. We joined up and we fought, and then I'm not going with you any further." That game was trash because people left, and I guess people left because this was pretty early. This was still within the first year or two. I was trying to take on a second game, and I guess it just didn't work. So this is Deep Star. I can't remember if it's called Deep Star or Deep Space. Deep Star Horizon. I think it was called Deep Star Horizon, or was it called Deep Space Horizon? I actually don't even remember. But this was a Star Wars campaign, and I'm gonna put that down in C. I'll put that down in C because the website for Star Wars 5e is not good. Okay, the air, the space combat rules were not not good, not streamlined. Right, it was very noodly, very complex. It was a drag, honestly. Right, so it's like, yeah, it was just not great. So the story of this campaign was set after the events of Return of the Jedi. It was Imperial remnants, and then it was also true. So Sith purebloods was involved. The party was a group of. We had one. We had one Jedi, or we had one pureblood Sith who was a good cider light Jedi. We had a we had a we he had a Jedi Master NPC, had a knight Zabrak knight brother, and then we had a alien race like pilot and engineer character, and the party all met as they were on a transport ship going to this Imperial station. The story ends. The story ends with the pureblood Sith. How do I say the pureblood Sith, like Darksider, manipulating the Night Sisters into channeling their dark side powers into this artifact. It was called the Dark Harvester, right? If you guys remember, that is a deep lore cut from the freaking Attack of the Clones Xbox game. What? Yeah. And the idea was he was trying to. So she had a master. So the villain Sarava had a, not a master, but like a partner in crime, a Darksider, who was stealing artifacts. And this one in particular, he wanted the Dark Harvester or the Dark Reaper or whatever it's called. It was two pieces. It's two different pieces. It was the I think it's called the I think one of them is called the Harvester, and then one of them is called the Reaper. And then when you put them together, they create this super weapon that can kill all life on a planet or something. Right. The players successfully intervene and stop that guy, and then also stop his like apprentice or whoever, Sarava, who was trying to do it, who was trying to continue his work. Okay, so Then we have Exarch, who was the villain of the campaign Zenith Heroes. I keep going in out of order. I keep going out of order. So Supremacist is the villain of Zenith Advent. I played this with my main group on Saturday, and it was superheroes, and it was it was better than I expected. I'll say that. It was better than I expected. It was pretty cool. The players met as the planet was being invaded. So this is obviously a different world. It's a sci-fi slash superhero sort of world. The planet is under attack invasion by these alien bugs called hexamites. And then this story actually ends. This is a campaign that was played to not really. I played to completion. I would say no. I would say played up to a decent stopping point of like the arc. We did the first arc, right? And that was, ending with the villains team, right? The idea was they had like a Justice League and like a Legion of Doom or something. And the idea was the Justice League was incapacitated, and it was up to these players as these sort of like junior heroes or like intermediate heroes had to figure out how to beat the most epic bad guys. And they figured it out, and they did it, and they had allies, and they took out his second in command, and the supremacist himself, who is the evil Superman archetype. Supremacist, the evil Superman archetype. Don't worry, by the way, because he's not racist. He's speciesist. uh, because obviously him being racist would be too evil and too realistic, and he's not. He's not racist. He's speciesist. What he does is he likes humans only, right? Which is a big deal considering if you were to look at DC or Marvel or something like that, right? And if you were to say a Superman level threat is racist against anyone who's not a human, guess what? That's mutants gone. That's mutants gone. That's aliens gone. Anyone who's what? So Martians, Timoranians, Cernians, anyone not from Earth, he wants to destroy, and then also anyone who is from Earth, but has some kind of deviation. Also, he wants to destroy those people as well. So that's how you come up with a name. I mean, honestly, I was inspired by Cerberus from Mass Effect, right, where they say humanity first. They're like exclusionary to aliens, right? That's something similar that I had for supremacist. So yeah, so there you go. I mean, look, and I'm probably feel like I'm forgetting a couple, but there's more than this, right? There's more than this that ran for a session or two, right? So not worth really considering, not worth really talking about. But yeah, I would say, I mean, my magnum opus is Israel's Will, definitely. And then the most tragic, disappointing, what the hell was that? Easily Tower Ship. I had such great dreams and plans, but I didn't do it right. I don't know. I would say, I would blame myself, and then I also would blame the players as well. Like sometimes, for this one, right? For this one, I would blame myself for for Kite Sail Express. For Kite Sail Express, I would blame myself mostly because it was my dumbass idea to put infinite worlds that the players are going to then try to dig into, and then I am going to fail to realize, right? Um, for Towership, yeah. I mean, it is what it is. You know, it is what it is. You know, thanks for the memories. Had some banger campaigns, had some incredible campaigns. Um, Israel's Will. Between Muriel's Gift and Israel's Will, amazing campaigns. 3 years in total. Such great times. So many times. Such great times. If you look at my channel, I did try to record some of it. I failed to record it entirely, unfortunately. But there's a decent amount of it that is recorded that is on my channel. So check it out if you care to see. And damn, an hour long. An hour long. Yeah. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. This is what I've run in D&D online so far, and then who knows, maybe I will come back to DMing some point in the future. But yeah. That's all for now. See you next time. Yeah.